Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and this is the Nitro Team. Next to it is the Nitro 1, and next to that is the Team Pro. I'll be primarily talking about the Team, but I will reference the Team Pro and the 1, along with some other bindings on occasion. I rode this in a wide variety of conditions on a bunch of different boards individually. Then I took these out for a sampler with my Yes Greats Unink snowboard, my Ride Fuse boots. I would ride these for one run, then put on the Team Pro for one run, then put on the 1 for one run. It's a lot of ones there. And then do that with a lot of other bindings that same day. So I got a really good idea of how these sit throughout the spectrum. Let's talk weight. This Team is 1.8 pounds. The Team Pro is 2 pounds. The 1 is 1.8 pounds. That's pretty close. You can feel a little difference, but when you're on snow, not much. And I think this little bit of extra weight adds to the dampening and comfort of the ride. Let's talk Highback Flex. Just got a nice, easy twist here, a nice, comfortable set of padding throughout the entire high back, which is great. There's a little give going back, but not much. So you get good response, but easy twists. In comparison to the Team Pro, it's very similar. I'd say maybe the Team Pro is just a touch wider, but it's close. In comparison to the 1, it's very similar. It's a thinner high back though. There's no padding. So if you like high back padding, you're not gonna like this guy. I didn't really notice any calf bite with all 3 of these. When it comes to flex underfoot and butterability, you get pretty good flex underfoot. Now, if you compare it to bindings like my Union Ultras, you get a lot more flex underfoot with these. There's just soft, rubbery type of padding and a mini disc throughout. There isn't much else going on there. So you can feel the board flex a little easier underfoot than you would with all of these. They do have the same size mini disc, and when you compare them to full-size discs, you definitely get more flex underfoot. But if you compare them to like Rome hybrid discs, these work as full-size or mini. You can see the difference in size here. The Rome actually had more butterability and more flex underfoot because the entire bottom is this really soft, kind of bouncy, poppy material that doesn't dampen as much, but really does increase your ollie power. And I'll be talking about that in the Rome Katana review and other reviews like that. Overall, this flex underfoot is very good. So as you can see here, the 1 is pretty similar to the Team, and the Team is pretty similar to the Team Pro in terms of construction underfoot and flex underfoot. When it comes to response, you have a pretty supportive ankle strap here and a pretty responsive binding. I felt that it was pretty smooth and continuous throughout the turn, just kind of like middle to maybe bordering on medium fast. And I never felt lacking with any board I rode, and I was riding a lot of free ride boards mostly until I got into the sampler. Then I rode it with a Mountain Freestyle Twin, but this can power most boards. I felt like the Team Pro had a little more response with this asymmetrical ankle strap, especially when you flip it and you get this side up. There was more response than the Team, but the Team was close enough to where it wasn't a huge deal. When it comes to shock absorption and dampness, I found that the Team and the Team Pro, even the 1, they all were pretty damp for what they are. There's no real special material on the bottom here, but this plastic doesn't feel as hard as many like plastic bindings on the bottom here. So it's doing something to absorb vibration and dampen the ride overall. And then in the gas pedal, you've got a little EVA foam underneath this hard plastic plate here to give you some response. And you have foam throughout most of it till you hit the airbag in the back. And I really like this airbag technology. I feel like it really helps with slow speed, shock absorption, that kind of shit. I don't really see any difference between the Nitro Team Pro and the Nitro in terms of shock absorption. In terms of the One, I feel like this was a little less damp just because you don't have EVA padding on the high back, and that actually helps absorb chatter too, as well as the bottom. In terms of support, you have a very symmetrical strap here, especially in comparison to the Team Pro. I felt like there was good support in all conditions you want to ride, because some bindings with really thin ankle straps are great in terms of freedom of movement and feel fine on clean groomers. But when you get into uneven snow, straps like this are a little more supportive. The one thing though, I just felt like the Team Pro wrapped around my boot more than this one. I like this light ankle strap, but it just felt like a little smaller in terms of how it wrapped. It has a lot of support from top to bottom. I just didn't feel the wrap like I did with the Team Pro. Very smooth on and off. They never popped out, so never brought anything bad to my attention, and that's what you want with Ratchets. When it comes to adjustability, I like the Phantom and the Phantom Plus a little better for adjustability just because they have an extra screw right here, but you can unscrew both of these, pull them out, and slide the heel loop in or out a little bit. You can also rotate the high back, so you can line up your high back with the heel side edge and get more symmetrical turning. You can also extend the gas pedal up and back, so you fit your boot properly in the binding. It's centered in the binding and therefore centered on the board. There's enough slide here with a mini disc setup to get any stance width you want. It's almost infinite, and that's great. Unfortunately, these don't work with setback inserts or inserts that are 40 mil apart instead of 20 mil. Most inserts are 20 mil apart, but a lot of boards these days are adding inserts that are 40 mil apart and set back for extra directional float and powder, which average riders like myself love. If you have boards with setback inserts, you need a full-size disc so you can utilize those setback inserts and slide it back. Overall, adjustability is so good. There's just toolless everywhere, even in the high back. I think that's much better than the high back forward lean adjuster that requires a tool with the Pro. So overall, I really liked the Team, but I just like the Team Pro a little more. Just because I think of the ankle strap for the most part. I just liked the way that worked with my boots a little better than this ankle strap. So if you can swing the Team Pro, do that. But if you can't, you're gonna have a beautiful life with the Team as well. So there you have it.